As with any component or tool, ensure that you understand AIR CTI before you drive off. If you have any queries, ring us on 0351 276 128. Your pre-drive check should include these. Turn on all wheel taps. As you turn them on, air will hiss for a short time while tire pressures balance. If any hiss for an extended time, it may indicate a puncture or a slow leak. The tire or the one next to it may be flat. Also listen for air leaks. Fix any problems now. Also feel rotators for looseness and drop pipes for rub marks. Note, two more taps exist. One is on the air supply point, the air reservoir or manifold. The other is on the inflate solenoid filter assembly, usually mounted on the chassis behind the cabin. These both have red handles. These must be on for operation. They are usually left on and only used in emergencies. The controller will automatically start in P1, which is high pressure, as a safety feature in case a new driver hops into the truck. Select P2 medium or P3 low as required. Adjust the up or down buttons on the right to fine-tune to suit your needs. P4 is not used on most installations. Trailer systems are controlled by the drive tire pressures. The pressure display. Single zone systems, drive tires only, display only on one line. Dual zone systems for drive and steer display two lines of information. The top line is the front tire pressures, the bottom line is the back tire pressures. The figures on the right side are the set pressures, i.e. the pressures that are required, the ones that the driver has selected. The figures on the left are current tire pressures. In between may be an arrow, be an I and F for inflate, or a DEF for deflate, or OK. This shows what is happening. Flashing symbols is a feedback for diagnostic purposes only. Actual pressure displayed drops when deflating and increases when inflating. When inflating, extra air pressure is required to force air through the tire valve, so the gauge actually reads higher than what is actually in the tires. When deflating, the tire valve slows airflow, reducing the air pressure displayed. This again means that the tire pressure is lower than what is actually in the tire until it stops and everything balances. This is normal. This is the way it should be. The controller beeps once when it needs to inflate. This beep is to alert the driver, who should check the current pressure. This pressure should rise once inflation starts. Inflation is required if a higher pressure is set or if air pressure is lost. A smaller leak or puncture will require short periods of reinflation at regular intervals. A large leak will require a long inflation period. Also, a large leak will cause a drop in the displayed tire pressures. Always stop and investigate if the displayed pressure drops when it shouldn't. Always check the gauge regularly, especially if it beeps. Sometimes a sharp impact will trigger a pressure adjustment. This is normal. If any doubt, stop and check your tires. Correct tire air pressure is essential to your safety. Check it often. It is your most important gauge. Steer P1 pressures are typically used for all highway use. On gravel roads, use P2 or medium pressure. On soft ground, deep mud, sand, use P3 or the low pressure. Increase pressures when conditions change. On drive tires, P1 or high pressure is typically used for highway use with full loads. P2 or medium is typically used on highways when empty. P2 is also used on gravel roads when fully laden. P3 or low pressure is used for emergency traction, for empty running on gravel roads. The fine-tuning allows adjustment to suit individual conditions and or loads. Driver knowledge and discretion is important here. On some trucks, P3 can be used on highways if the load on the tires is low. In heavy rain, a higher pressure will push the water away, providing safer operation. Fine-tuning of each section is very handy if the track is rough or conditions require it. On some systems, fine-tuning is locked out. Pressure settings are factory set, but can be changed if required. When parking the truck at the end of the day, turn off all the wheel taps. Listen for leaks, check for looseness or damage. An ounce of prevention saves lots. Important. It is the driver's responsibility to maintain safe operations. AIR CTI is the only tool that allows the driver to optimize pressures. If in doubt, ring AIR CTI.